News from Jamaica now. The Jamaica Labour Party JLP says the government must tell the country the real truth behind the postponement of local government elections. Shadow Finance Minister Audley says the People's National Party PNP is scared to face the electorate because of its poor governance. If you are not scared, then call local government elections. That's the position of Shadow Finance Minister Audley. Mr. Shaw is adamant that the ruling People's National Party PNP is just making excuses to delay local government elections because it has reservations about facing the electorate. On Tuesday, the lower house of Parliament passed two bills, the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation General Election Postponement Act 2015 and the Parish Council's General Election Postponement Act 2015, paving the way for the elections to be postponed. The Portia Simpson Miller administration now has until December 29, 2016 to announce a date for local government elections. But for JLP Member of Parliament for North East Manchester, the government is shying away from the polls because they have failed to provide public sector workers with a credible wage offer.
After public sector workers have been called upon to hold strain for the 3.5, almost 4 years of this administration in wage freeze, and those public sector workers, their purchasing power has plunged by 40%. And many workers right now are stressed out trying to make ends meet, trying to put food on the table, trying to send their children to school, Mr. Speaker. Maybe that should have been put on the list of reasons for why you are postponing the local government elections.
For his part, Local Government Minister Noel R. Scott explained that there are a few critical adjustments the government wants to institute before calling the polls. Mr. R. Scott says the three strategic bills deemed priorities of local government reform are at an advanced stage of development. The minister also noted that efforts are being made to address the boundary issues in Portmore St. Catherine.
One of the things I found interesting, I found, Mr. Speaker, the opposition spokesman, the member from West Kingston, at no point pointed to one single thing that the JLP administration accomplished in local government reform.
But Mr. Shaw contends that those reasons are pathetic. Criticizing Minister R. Scott's stewardship, Audley Shaw says the minister has failed miserably. He says major towns and parishes are unkempt at a time when the government is collecting more for property taxes.
We are collecting more from property taxes. But in the parish of Manchester, in the parish of Clarendon, the state of garbage collection is a total and utter disgrace, Mr. Speaker. To the point where it is, the Minister of Health is here. It is a clear and present danger to the public health of this country.
The opposition member says Maypen is almost overtaken by rodents.
I saw on television last week pictures taken in Maypen. Mr. Speaker, I saw some rats. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw it on television. I saw some rats. They were not running away from the cameras. They were wobbling towards their next piece of meal. Some of them bigger than, Mr. Speaker, countryman would say, some of the rat them bigger than cut puss. Them bigger than cut puss. You will find out what that is.
Meanwhile, Mr. Shaw is proposing that the funds that were put aside in the budget to stage local government elections be used to update the voters list.
In the budget, $1.4 billion was set aside this year for the commencement of a house-to-house inquiry and the re-verification of the voters list. $1.4 billion. But, Mr. Speaker, not $1 of that $1.4 billion has so far been sent to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica to commence the house-to-house inquiry and the re-verification of a voters list, which, Mr. Speaker, it's been openly admitted by the General Secretary of the People's National Party that there are at least 200,000 names on the voters list now that should not be there. It has also been publicly admitted by the former General Secretary of the People's National Party, the member from Central Manchester, has also publicly admitted that in his estimation about 300,000 persons' names are on the voters list which should not be there. And Mr. Speaker, with those admissions from members of the government side, the request has been made by the Electoral Commission for the funds not just to be approved, but to be given to them to start the critical process of cleaning up the voters list. I want to suggest that the $400 million that has been sent for the purposes of preparedness for local government election be immediately transferred to the purpose of house-to-house inquiry and the re-verification process. I'm asking that that be done and done immediately, Mr. Speaker.
And the government is downplaying suggestions that it's afraid to call the local government elections. Information Minister Sandra Fortner says the reasons listed for postponing the elections are valid.
Nothing is happening. I think we have said it over and over that we want the local government reform process to take place. The truth is that our administration has taken the reform process to the farthest that it has ever been. We have a number of bills, and I will ask Mr. Edwards, you can probably say a little bit more on the process where we are. But I think that is a credible enough reason for us to hold on to ensure that we fix local government, the system, and we have the elections. It's not unusual. I think we have had many postponements over the years. There are a number of things we have, including the Portmore border issue, that we have to resolve before we have an election. And those are some of the issues that we have to ensure that we sort out before we go to the polls. And I think we have very valid reasons for the postponement. I think this government has done very well in office. There is no need for us to be fearful. We have performed. We have a very credible economic reform program which has received kudos from all over the world. And I think we have taken this country from instability to stability. And I believe the people of Jamaica are very smart, and the people of Jamaica know that this government has performed well. We are not fearful.